Welcome back, Bannock folks. It's Phil. You're tuned in to another album review. Today we're covering Hot Mulligan and the sound a body makes when it's still. Now, anyone who follows the channel knows that I am a big Hot Mulligan fan, so I'm going to try and go into this unbiased. Now, for those who don't know, Hot Mulligan are a band that actually started in like 2014 in what they say Lansing, Michigan, and they really didn't kind of pop off until post-COVID. They have carved out and actually paved the way for their very unique and distinct sound, what they call post-emo, a mix of pop punk, Midwest, post-hardcore, screamo. I mean, it's a mixture of all things, and it comes out really good. Now, there are a lot of bands playing this kind of music. However, I feel like Hot Mulligan seem to be paving the way for this, not only through their music, but through their personality, whether it be their on-screen personality or even just their song titles. And they just seem to be so infectious, whether it's involved with some of the older folks who grew up with emo or some of the newer folks who are just getting into it. Now, the sound a body makes when it's still is the third installment of what I am deeming the Ghost Trilogy. Now, the last 3 records, every album cover has actually featured some sort of ghostly character. And actually, I feel like these albums specifically represent the sound that they have been so well to pioneer. So I'm going to kind of keep that in mind when I do that review. I may even give it a little bit of a pass because it feels like it is the third installment, the third act of a story that we're getting here. Not necessarily contextually or like a concept wise, but like in the chapter of Hot Mulligan's lives. Now, the sound a body makes when it still consists of 16 tracks and clocks in at about 40 minutes. Personally, I think it's a little bloated. There's about 5 of these songs that clock in under 2 minutes. They're really unique, and they actually kind of stand outside of most of Hot Mulligan's sound, so I understand why they made the record. Now, I feel like fans of the band are going to like this record. They're going to eat it up because it's a lot of the same thing. It is very much the genre that they have pioneered and created for themselves. It is their sound. Now, a lot of elements that are being talked about in this record, lyrically speaking, are dealing with mental health and aging with mental health and how to deal with mental health while you're aging and losing loved ones while you're dealing with your mental health. Now, the song Monica Lewinsky is one of my favorite on the records, and it actually stands out quite a bit. Its lyrics packs a really punch of just losing a loved one and kind of describing what it's like to be in a band. There's been some other bands that kind of cover that, but Hot Mulligan do a really good job at painting that picture for us. Slumdog's Chamillionaire, it is kind of like a medley of all the songs that you hear, which is really cool. They do some really cool elements playing with like arpeggiators and even just like some of the synths that they do. So they're doing a lot of new things in this song specifically. Another element that I think they introduced with these tunes was to kind of appeal to a broader audience. Their other 2 records are a little rough around the edges as far as Tate's vocals goes, and you can tell in these songs he's kind of reeled it back a bit. There are some moments where he does some heavy screaming for sure, but overall in general, he's definitely wound it back a bit, and I feel like some of the leads in these tracks are even built to try and appeal to mass audience, especially that lead in The Island of the Sun, which, if I'm being honest, I'm not a big fan of. Hot Mulligan put out 20 songs within a year's span. Around this time last year, they put out an EP that was consisted of like 3 or 4 tracks, and this record's got 16 songs. So we're talking about 20. This is like 2 records worth of music, and it is all very condensed and consistent with their sound. And I think that's the something that I'm having a hard time with the most, is I feel like, sure, these songs are really good, and especially the single that came off this record, And a Big Load. I really feel like that song specifically showcases everybody's ability in this band. But a lot of these other songs, especially in between these shorter songs, feel less memorable. Another thing that I kind of had a hard time with was the track flow of this record. Now, with the prior record, Why Would I Watch, I felt like that would flow into every song. I had actually a hard time figuring out which song I was on when I would put that record on. This record specifically feels like they kind of sloppily glue some of these songs together with just some, like, I don't know, weak fade-ins and like small synth parts that personally, and I don't think add anything to this record. Now, I feel like I've been shining on a lot of the negative parts of this record, and a part of that is because I'm such a big fan. I do like Chris's vocals. I do like Tate's lyrics. I do like a lot of things that happen in this band and in this record. There are a lot of catchy choruses that catch you. There's some really cool parts. There's some really cool songs you can get into, especially if you are a new listener of Hot Mulligan. I feel like that's what this record is really for. But if you're asking me personally, I was a bigger fan of the prior record, Why Would I Watch? And I don't dislike this record. I feel like I'm just harshly critiquing it because I've passionately listened to this band within the last couple of years, especially post-COVID, and I've kind of just been obsessed with them, with their social media, with all the video stuff that they put out. I think they're really interesting young folks. They're touring really hard. They've had some really cool opportunities opening up for Fall Out Boy and doing some crazy festivals overseas. Now, because I feel like this is the third installment of a trilogy, Now I am deeming that. I am, in my world, I am deeming that this is the third installment of a trilogy, the Ghost trilogy. Its consistentness kind of gets a pass, especially because they are so unique. I feel like 3 albums worth of very much a similar sound kind of deserves its worth. There's not a whole lot of bands really sounding like Hot Mulligan. There are some off branches doing some similar things, but when it comes to Hot Mulligan specifically, the elements that they bring together, there's not a whole lot of folks doing what they're doing. So, with having such a condensed and cohesive sound, a third installment does make sense for mass appeal post-COVID, digging out all these songs. And like I said, these folks have put out 20 songs within the last year or so they are just pumping them out. There are some songs on this record that feel like an elevated version of Hot Mulligan, but it doesn't feel like an elevated record, if that makes sense. I just really hope that Hot Mulligan isn't just some one-trick pony and that they work their buzz off and actually grow into a more mature sound. And I'm not saying they need to change the song titles. I really think that's a signature of them. And there's a lot of things that I think they could keep, but I feel like I need to hear some less upbeatness throughout a record. Hot Mulligan, the sound a body makes when it's still. I am scoring this record a 720 McTwist out of a 900 Tony Hawk. What do you think? Am I out to lunch? Am I being hypercritical of this band? Am I just not enjoying the music as much as I should be? Or am I onto something here? Leave it all down below in the comments. If you aren't already, follow us on all our social medias. That's just at Bandecdotes, BANDECDOTES. That's where we post all our updates and clips. Follow us there for everything. Shout outs to all our members. It's member time. Shout outs to Ty. You're our homie. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for not leaving. We appreciate it. Thank you for sticking around. Next up, we have our boy Aaron. You know how it is. It's like a DJ scratching. We're cool here. And lastly, but certainly not leastly, the first member to ever actually give us any sort of money. We sincerely appreciate your contribution. Shoutouts to more pool chemicals. That's just what I'm looking at right now. You're our homie. If you want to be thanked at the end of these videos, if you want to be a member, if you want to contribute $2 to this channel and help this channel grow a little bit, we're just 2 guys in our mid-30s trying to make this happen while our full-time jobs completely take over our lives, and we just hang on by a thread while we completely try to make content and some sort of entertainment for you folks. If that's what you want to keep doing, if you want to see more of this, hit that membership button. We sincerely appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right, folks, take it easy.